What's up, guys? This is going to be a short tutorial on enabling DLSS 4 in ABI. I'm going to do a very simple way that will work for most people, or pretty much everyone, but also cover another way. Editor's note, forgot to mention one very important thing. DLSS 4 will only work on 2000 series cards onwards, obviously NVIDIA. DLSS 4 looks incredible in ABI. The whole game looks much clearer, much sharper. For me on 1440p, DLSS quality or even performance on 4 looks better than the game without DLSS enabled. This is not true on the old DLSS, and things are a lot more blurry. You have a lot more shimmering. As you can see, I have the overlay on bottom left, and this is what normal ABI will boot up with DLSS on, which is preset E and DLSS V3370, which is the old version or the version that comes with the game. If you're on 1080p, this has probably been kind of hard to play on and very blurry. And it's still a bit blurry on 1440p, but playable compared to 1080p for sure. Now, the super easy basic version of enabling DLSS 4 in ABI would be to download the most recent NVIDIA graphics driver. I would definitely recommend this one too, because there's been some problems in the recent versions. Basically, you need a 5.7 version for this to work at all. There will be another method that you can do on older drivers that I'll be doing after, which is a more complicated method and involves downloading more things. For the simple version, all you will need is NVIDIA Profile Inspector, which is available on GitHub, and there'll be a link in the description. You just need to download the zip here. You just need to download the zip here by clicking on the latest version. Save it to wherever you want, and then you'll be unzipping. This program is a portable version. It doesn't actually install onto your PC. So you just have to run the exe inside the folder. And you'll end up somewhere like this, or pretty much the same page. So once you're here, what you need to do is create a profile for ABI. Otherwise, you'll be applying it to any application on the PC. If you do want to apply it to any application on the PC, you would repeat the step I'm about to do without making the profile, but I would recommend doing it for ABI only. So you click the star here and you create a profile. I'm just going to do ABI. And once you've done that, you're going to go to the little plus here, add application to current profile, and browse. And mine's already opened to my ABI folder, but I would just go into C drive where mine is, ABI, Infinite, binaries, Win64, and uagame.exe, which is the game launcher or the game exe. Come up here and you'll press OK. Now you're on the individual profile for the game only. And all you're going to do is scroll down to section 5, common, and you're going to change the DLL override on DLSS to on, and the force preset letter to always use latest, which should be K for now, but we'll use latest just in case. And then you're going to apply changes. Now, this method will work on every 5.7 NVIDIA driver onwards, hopefully. And this is the most basic way to do it. Now, if you launch the game from here and you think it worked, the game looks much better, that's all you need to do. But if you want to go into more detail to understand if it's working or not, continue watching. Now, in this simple method, you will not have the overlay down here, which is confirming I'm now on preset K and DLSS V3 31021. This is a bit confusing because it's DLSS 4, but you can tell it's updated from the original numbers. And you can also see it as MV app override next to it. And because in this simple version, you don't have the overlay, you're probably just going to, assume it's working or be able to tell it's working by how much better it looks. If you have a strong GPU, and I'm talking like 4000 series onwards, you can probably just run DLSS quality. But with DLSS 4, it's the model is so much better than the old DLSS that even performance looks really good. I have a 3080, which is a pretty good card, but it's not like the strongest right now. I do lose frames. Shooting range is actually a bad test. If you look out here, for some reason, it renders at pretty bad performance. So on quality, I am maxing out my FPS here, but obviously we're staring at a wall. Um, I will lose frames on DLSS quality on my 3080 compared to the old DLSS, but it looks so much better. If you do have issues or an older card, I would start on performance for sure. Compared to the old DLSS performance, it looks incredible anyway. You should be able to just tell visually. But if you want a more like to actually confirm that you've applied DLSS 4, you'll have to do the second method. So this is part two. If you want to have the overlay on to confirm that it's working, and also you'll need this program for step number 3, where we'll manually apply the DLSS as well. You need to get DLSS Swapper. Also, will be a link in the description. This is another program on GitHub. People use this to automatically switch DLSS files in a lot of games. We're not going to do that through the app. Everything we do will be manual. This is just a better way for me to have you guys enable the overlay and receive the better DLSS version if you don't have the latest drivers or don't want to switch for some reason. So you'll be going to the download and getting the installer. Once you have the installer, you just be running it and installing it like normal. Once you've done that, you're just going to open DLSS Swapper. And we're not actually going to use the main functions in this app, but we're going to go down to the settings button here. And we're going to go to DLSS developer options. And we're going to switch show on screen indicator to enabled for all DLSS DLLs. I'm pretty sure it comes on default none, but you're just going to be changing it to all DLLs. And this way, the overlay bottom left should show up in the game. And once you're done, once you've confirmed that it's working and it's all good, you can come back into this program and just set it back to none to turn it off. And then when you launch the game back up, there should be no overlay here. And DLSS 4 should still be working. I can tell just by looking, but I am a big nerd. Now, option 3 is for people who want to manually apply the DLSS file, update the DLL. People who don't want to update their NVIDIA drivers for some reason, or who are just more comfortable with doing it manually, or if you have some kind of issue where the other guide doesn't work, you're going to go back into DLSS Swapper, and you're going to click on this button, which is a library button, and you're going to should be on the DLSS tab, and you're going to manually download the latest DLSS DLL here, which is this one. You click the button, it downloads, and then you press the arrow, and you're exporting it. So export it anywhere you want. Back to the downloads file for me, downloads folder. Success. And then you can still use DLSS Swapper to toggle the display on and off to confirm it's working. Just keep that in mind. But you don't have to leave this open or use it otherwise. Now you will need to manually place the DLSS DLL that you just acquired. So you'll be extracting in this folder and going in here, and you'll have the DLL file right here. Note the size 47825. And what you'll be doing is keep this folder open, and you will navigate to the ABI folder, which for me is in the C drive. ABI. And then you'll be going into the first engine folder, plugins, runtime, NVIDIA, DLSS 3, binaries, third party, Win64, and you'll find the DLSS DLL that comes with ABI. And to manually replace it, all you'll be doing is copying this version, 48725. It's actually smaller on top of this one. If you want to be extra careful, you can either rename this like ABI old DLSS and then copy paste this one in. And then the game will be forced to use this one. And then if you have an issue, you can just come back into here and delete this one and rename this one back to this. So in practice, I would probably copy this, delete this, and paste the name in. And then you're back on the old version. But don't panic if you have an issue here. Also, repairing the game will restore this. back to the original version as well. Also, if there's a game update, like there hopefully will be soon, this will probably also get forced back to the old one, which is why method number one is preferred for sure and will be much easier for most people. But this is the old way to do it and the way you manually force it to use the latest DLSS. So once you have replaced the old DLL with a new one for a 47825, you can launch ABI. Note the DLSS overlay will never appear until the actual main menus load. And if you have an issue like you can't see this behind the enter button, like it might be a bit different on other resolutions, just load into the shooting range and then hide the health and armor so you can clearly see the numbers and everything. But as you can see, this way also has just put me onto the latest one, and it's actually also put me onto K. So I wouldn't have to use NVIDIA Inspector on this method this way. But there would be no harm in doubling up or using Inspector as well. Both methods are actually pretty easy. And it's just about whether you want to do it manually or not. I would say method number one is going to be the most straightforward way for most people. Uh, the only issue would be is if you have a specific bug on the latest NVIDIA drivers or something and you don't want to update. Now, just in case you have any issues with Inspector, maybe you accidentally did something, you can always go back to the ABI profile and simply delete it. This will mean nothing is no longer applying if you set something through Inspector. You can also, instead of deleting it, press the NVIDIA button here and restore it to defaults, which is like the default settings that come with NVIDIA control panel. Because all this really is just a much bigger, more complicated version of the NVIDIA control panel. Worst case scenario too, if you do reset this and delete it and you still have some kind of issue, you will just want to repair the game and it will revert. You just want to repair the game and it will revert everything back to normal. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that covers everything. It's actually much easier than it used to be. Hope the part one should pretty much cover everyone. But if you have any issues, just feel free to leave me a comment or drop by the stream anytime. Thank you, guys.